The following podcast is scheduled for one fall. From the heart of Broadway in historic downtown Cape Girardeau, this is Pro Wrestling Unscripted.
It's May 8th, 2019, and you are tuned in to Pro Wrestling Unscripted here on the Podzilla 1985 Network. I want to thank you guys for joining us once again this week. My name is Shannon Young. I'm going to be your host tonight, Mr. 100, here live at the Gaming Ground studio. With me, of course, Asa Gray, the 5-star man.
Yes.
We got Allie, not actually hungry, but she might be a little bit.
Hi. I am hungry.
I am also hungry.
Of course, the Big D.
That's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing because he's got food poisoning. Either he smiled just then or he got sick again. You know who does the best fake throw up sound?
Sweet D.
Sweet D. Not even a challenge.
No, it's
absolutely disgusting.
it's so bad. Just there's that like crick.
Yeah.
Like I don't. It's just that click of a. No.
Light news week here around the wrestling parts. So we'll figure out where we're going to start here today. And I think one of the most important ones, and maybe the most interesting, probably not most interesting, but one of the most important ones, especially if you're a fan of wrestling and you watch a lot of wrestling, is that the WWE announced that they are restructuring their network. Mm-hmm. They're completely revamping it with, I read about this earlier, multi-tiers, downloadable content, stuff like that. Hey, so what are the details on this?
Well, they haven't really announced any details yet, aside from they did their business partner summit,
yes,
which is where this is coming from. But like you said, pretty much all that we really know is that because they have been doing these the surveys for forever now of what would you pay for, what changes did you want to see to the network, what additional content would you be opposed to a tiered system for different things. But yeah, they would add new content. There would be a certain level of customization. Like I said, we don't really know what that means. There will be the ability to download things for offline viewing later, because as it is now, it's all streaming.
Right.
Netflix allows you to download stuff.
See, I did not know
later.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you do that?
It's a setting you have to go through, like either on your laptop or like on your phone. Because like when I was staying at my grandparents' house, what I did is I turned off my data and then I had the like movie or shows or whatever downloaded.
Right.
Because they didn't have Wi-Fi and it was eating all of the data.
Can't confirm.
Because streaming video goes through so much data.
So what do you think the point is of this? Is it a just money grab, or do you think that is there
money grab is a harsh way of saying it, but I mean it's just they have if they've thought of new ways to do, because like there's a lot of speculation, but like I said, there have been no official announcements where it's like, okay, for $10 a month you get back episodes of like RAW and Smackdown, all the old pay-per-views, like basically what it is now. $15 a month will then include, that's the one you have to have for the
pay-per-views,
like for like live pay-per-views or Netflix or NXT,
right?
And then just stuff like that.
Do you think it's a good idea, Allie? Do you think it's a good idea? And what I mean by that, let me elaborate a little bit. So right now the plan is $10 a month, and you get everything. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's a good idea to, like Asa said, because I think Asa's point he just made is probably the most accurate of what will happen, where there will be a low-level tier, which could be the $10 tier, because that is kind of the basis that they already pay now, where you get backlog. You get the catalog. Mm-hmm. And then at $15, now you get the live events too. Do you think that's a good idea to, even if they do give you extra stuff, to now increase the charge on this to force people to pay more for the live events? Or do you think that it's been so successful over so long that it's now time to start raising prices?
I mean, everyone hates when things go up in price.
I hated when Netflix raised their prices.
So, like, people will complain, but we still have Netflix.
Exactly.
So,
that's a good point.
Like, business-wise, yeah, it's probably smart. As a consumer, I dislike it. As a consumer, I feel like they could add extra things like the downloadable content and stuff like that and still allow the streaming of live events to be at a lower tier. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if just downloading
would be enough
content is enough to, yeah.
Well, I think the tier system itself is what I'm worried about the most, because
one of the other, just real quick,
sure.
One of the other leading things is that if you if you one of the higher tiered will grant you access to other promotions stuff. So I don't think like Impact or ROH would ever end up on the WWE Network, but places,
stuff that they already have.
But places that like WWE works with all the time, like Evolve or things like that, you could start seeing, and may potentially even there's look at all the debate and rumors and stuff that were circulating the old Impact library. Right. Or like certain, they've worked with ROH before to get footage of people like Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, stuff like that. Yeah. So they could do something like that where, hey, there's, WWE guys here, but go and watch when, he was Claudio Castagnoli in PWG. Then, that could be a thing. But again, that's just wild speculation and stuff that they have rumored about before.
I feel like right now you get everything, though, for that $10 a month. It would be a hard sell to tell people. I mean, it has to be something good, I think, to get people to go, I will pay more for this. Although, I'm saying that, but what Ali said is probably the most true thing of all.
We still have Netflix.
Netflix raised its price twice. Hulu raised its prices. Every time something raises its price, we bitch about it, but then we keep it.
Yeah.
And
honestly, like, I don't know jack about business, but it wouldn't surprise me if the current way that the network is now is what would be the baseline. Right. Like, you don't have to change your subscription, but here is, from this point on, maybe there will be exclusive shows at the $15 level. At the $15 level, whatever, then that's when you can see Evolve matches or, whatever it is.
That I don't think is as a consumer, that's not as bad because then I can keep exactly what I have.
Yeah, you're not losing anything.
And then...
But you do feel... There is that part of you, though, that will go like, okay, but I was paying for it, and now you're telling me I have to pay more to get this extra stuff. It's like when you play Anthem, Division, it's like, here's the game, here you've got it, but now here's extra stuff you could pay a little bit more for. Because my thought process, especially being an old gentleman, old man 100, as they call me now, nobody calls
Mr.
me
100 years old.
Is that I come from an era of you pay for it, you got it.
Right.
You bought a Nintendo game, here's your Nintendo game.
But also at the same time, though, like
technology has advanced.
Well, technology has advanced, but you have to look at there are upsides to that as well, though. If you bought a Super Nintendo game and it was broken,
it was broken.
It was broken. It was shipped broken. Now, look at things like Fallout 76. Look at the state that game was shipped, and then look at it now.
You're right.
I don't know what it looks like, but or even a better example, No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah.
Like look how No Man's Sky has almost completely done a full 180 in the content that people thought they were getting at launch versus what they were able to patch in after the fact.
Battlefront 2 to a lesser degree.
Yeah, exactly. Of just like, oh, hey, this sucks. We're going to go in and fix it. So, and like Mortal Kombat 11 did the same thing of, hey, these towers are awful. So we're going to go in, tweak them. Now you're getting more rewards for doing them, and also we're making them more manageable.
You know what's a great example of that? And it's wrestling related. WWF No Mercy on Nintendo 64. Do you remember that game? Obviously, everybody remembers that game because it was a great game. But do you remember the game, not game breaking, but incredibly infuriating glitch with that game?
Where it was something happened in Creator Wrestler that would wipe your entire save?
Yeah. So basically, if you use a Creator Wrestler in story mode, which I think you had to, there was a chance that it would wipe out your save. So like, and that happened to me. As I was playing it, my guy walks out and suddenly he's bald default. And I was like, is this a part of the story? No, it was just broken. And what you had to do is you had to get a replacement from Nintendo or Aki or whoever, or you could save it to your memory card and just reload the file. But what a pain in the ass.
Can I ask you a really stupid question?
Of course.
Okay, so No Mercy was, of course, made by THQ.
Yes.
The other company was...
Aki.
So it wasn't AKI.
Well, it's AKI Aki.
That's how it's spelled, but it's pronounced... It's actually said as Aki?
Yeah.
Because 29 years of my life...
You've just been saying AKI?
I've been saying THQ and AKI because it's just 3 letters, and THQ is THQ. It's not thick. Although, hearing it...
Although, if it was made in 2019, it would definitely be called thick.
Fun fact, not to step on Nerd Up's toes or anything, but THQ is now THQ Nordic because they went and have bought it and are now buying every IP in video games.
Yeah.
For some reason, but so it could just be Thick Nordic.
Thick Nordic. Mm-hmm. That's a hot wrestler. That's who I would like to see. Also, the more I talk about it, the more I wonder if it is Aki. Like, I've heard Aki used 1,000 times.
See, and I have too, but it's always that thing of it's just like, man, I have been so wrong my entire life. But there have been too many people. But I've literally never heard anyone else say AKI. It's always like written out as capital THQ, and capital AKI.
Well, there was a wrestler in No Mercy that you could wrestle as named Aki Man,
which I always just called him AKI Man.
I did too until people corrected me. I was like, no, it's Aki Man. I was like, is it? I guess that makes more sense. But anyway, also a great wrestling game.
But to go
great
back,
wrestling game.
It's not the best.
Oh, if anyone's good at modding, here's what you do: go mod No Mercy and make it a CCW game, and then release it. So we could all play it on our emulators. That would just be the coolest thing in the world. But you only have to make one arena, maybe two.
To get back on topic with that, now there's more content. I feel like for me at least, I would be like, yeah, I mean, it would be cool to have that, but I'm at least not losing anything.
Yeah.
When you start, if you stripped away some content from the $10 tier, that's when I think you're going to run into a lot of the backlash. Whereas a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, I mean, I would like to have it, but. And so I'll pay the little bit extra to get that as well as what I'm already getting.
Well, I guess I could kind of think of maybe like YouTube, where YouTube came out with, what is the premium?
YouTube
Red?
YouTube Red.
Where YouTube Red has its own series now that you have to subscribe to get. So WWE could do something similar where Edge and Christian season 5 or whatever, now it's on this.
And that's what I was talking about with like exclusive content or like moving right along and stuff. So like there may be like additional seasons of like shows that they've established get moved to like a higher tier.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I don't know if that's the thing of like, what are they going to, assuming that they're not taking anything away, which again, I would like to think that they're not going to, but I don't.
They also are notorious for making mistakes.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if they did. But, it's that thing of what would they add to a higher tier to draw in, especially like the casual person who is only using it for the pay-per-view, because it's still, compared to, 10 years ago, it was $60 a month to watch a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And don't get me
you
wrong.
only got the pay-per-view, whereas now it's $10 a month
and you get everything.
Get the live pay-per-view plus that entire backlog.
If they even did raise it to $15 a month to do the live pay-per-views, that is still a deal.
Yeah.
Like, it's still a deal.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we all grew up in the era where pay-per-views were still a thing, and it was $60 a pop. I remember paying $60 for Starrcade to watch Hogan versus Sting. And was it Starrcade? It was Starrcade, wasn't
I don't remember. I'm not the...
Well...
Dalton's body needs to stop trying to murder him, and so he can be here because he'd answer that.
Point is that, like, I remember being so mad about it. Because, and yes, it was Starrcade. I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy. 97 Starrcade. Because it was that long build of Crow Sting versus NWO Hollywood Hogan. And it came to a head... And it was like, there's supposed to be this epic thing. And I bought it, and I made my dad watch it, and I talked him into it. It was so exciting. And then it was awful. And I remember thinking, like, I spent $60 on that. Well, Dad spent $60 on that. Now with this, it's $15 a month. And even if the pay-per-views are terrible, which they sometimes aren't great,
you have other things that you also pay for.
You get so much more.
Plus, in like, at least for us, at least, where it's,
half party.
Well, yeah, it's half of just it's an excuse to
hang out.
To get to hang out. Which, by the way, I'm willing to bet that Jesse will not be here for Money in the Bank.
Is it football night?
Game of Thrones finale. Oh. Like the finale, series finale.
Well, I've never watched it, so you know it's fake, right?
Right. It's not real dragons.
We'll hit all the hot spots. All right. Wish I hadn't said that. So
not.
Yeah, I showed Ethan that clip today. He didn't find it as funny as I did because we have very different senses of humor.
I mean, I find it funny.
Our old friend Matt Stryker. Let's just start at the top here because I don't think there's anything super important that needs to be talked about immediately other than I thought that was very important. Matt Stryker, who you may remember from being at CCW Super Show, great guy. We all got to hang out with him a little bit and talk. He was very high on Asa's performance. Very cool, by the way. Giving you that rub there. Literally, so I don't know if we talked about it. As soon as we come through the curtain, Matt Stryker's like pointing at Asa saying, "This guy is the future of broadcasting."
He did not say that.
That's
definitely did not say that.
That's what I remember.
You also remembered like hitting Damone with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker.
I did. Did you see that?
No, I didn't because it didn't happen.
Through a table.
So Matt Stryker is now working as an agent for an Impact. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's super cool.
That is very cool. I hope that doesn't affect his like any future prospects he may have at CCW because we enjoyed having him. We hope he comes back at some point.
That'd be cool. I mean, like it would be amazing if that were to happen, but no, it's awesome, and I feel almost bad like talking about him just because it's like I feel like I'm just fangirling over him every time anyone brings him up. But like he has a really good mind for.
Why does that make you feel bad?
I don't know, Alex, because I'm a crazy person. And because like I don't want to be one of those people who's just like, oh, I spent like 20 minutes with Matt Stryker. We're best friends now, and like I'm just
20 minutes was 4 hours,
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like that was entirely of just calling a show. Like we weren't just
being buds.
Yeah. There was a little bit of that, but it definitely wasn't to the extent that it's just like yeah, like the close personal friend Xavier Woods. That's a bit. Because clearly that's a bit.
Yeah, but
whereas
Matt Stryker,
it's like,
you can make the
if
argument.
I start making, and people are gonna be like, "Wait, does he think?" That?
No, with Matt Stryker, you can say, "I have worked with."
Right, I have, and that's cool. But anyway,
well, technically, we worked with Xavier Woods in a very bad match. We lost.
Oh, and Battleborn.
Yeah.
But no, so he's super smart, and he is. I think that he would have a lot to offer to Impact, and again, it's just that thing of Impact consistently is making more and more good moves. They're not getting, it genuinely is a shame that for all of the good Impact is doing, they are getting 5% of the media coverage that they were getting whenever something bad was happening, which that's just the nature of news.
People would rather see you fall than see you do well.
Right. And now they're doing well. They're consistently doing well. They're making improvements. They're adding smart people to their company to help out. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, he may not ever be an on-screen figure, but it's cool to see them continuing to bring people in to try to help better the product. And what they're putting out has been really, really good.
I always thought Matt Stryker was a very underrated talent. He's got a great voice. He's got a great look. He had, the teacher gimmick. Mm-hmm. It's been done. Dean Douglas, but except he wasn't an actual teacher, was he?
I think he was.
Was Shane Douglas a teacher?
Oh, Shane Douglas.
Because I know Matt Stryker was.
That I don't know. Because I was like, no, Matt Stryker was not a teacher. But
I can only think of 2 teachers that did wrestling, and they're both amazing.
Luke Harper was a librarian.
The best librarian.
Because, Adam Page.
Imagine returning a book late to Luke Harper.
He's probably the coolest guy in the world. Hey, I brought this back late. Hey, no problem.
I'll waive that for you.
He just thumbs up at you.
But he's got those eyes, though. Like, hey, yeah, great. And that's no problem at all. Like, it'll never happen again, sir. I'm so sorry.
Luke Harper has the best look. He has the best look.
Yeah. Matt Stryker, Adam Page, the 2 wrestler teachers that we know.
Wait, Adam Page? Adam Page was a teacher?
Yeah, he was he didn't quit his teaching job until he signed with Bullet Club.
Son of a bitch, I didn't know that either.
He did. That's what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, that's right. What I was gonna say was that I saw a clip recently of Impact, and I think it was put in the group chat maybe, where Rob Van Dam came back against All Ego Ethan Page, who will, by the way, be at CCW May Mayhem on May 18th, 2019, the year of our Lord.
Yes.
Allie, did you see the video of Rob Van Dam on there?
No.
He looked really tired.
I mean, aren't we all?
Yeah, he works a lot.
It's gonna be him. Him versus Ethan Page this Friday, which apparently they are like hoping to get a different TV deal. Impact is.
Where are they? Are they still on Pop?
No, they're off Pop. They're on that one. They're on that like hunting channel now.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's like they announced this TV deal and everyone was like, oh really? It's even on like I think it's in less places than Pop TV.
Yeah, we talked about that.
But we talked about it, and then they're actually also streaming live on Twitch, and then you can get replays.
TNA, oh my god, TNA has always had this weird relationship with fans in how it was shown, because you remember TNA started as just a weekly pay-per-view program, which was unheard of, I think, at the time, that they ran weekly and it was on pay-per-view. You had to pay for it every week. And then, of course, they got the deal with, I want to say,
Fox Sports Network.
Was that the first place they went to?
I think that was the first place, but I'm not 100% sure.
And then the one that I remember them from the most was
Spike.
Yeah. And it was, they had the big Hogan Bischoff era, which was just a disaster in almost every way.
Nearly was the actual final nail in the coffin.
Yeah. And Dixie Carter made some bad choices here and there, and now they are really turning it around. And I hope they get a good TV deal, because a good TV deal can make or break you. That can really help your product out a lot. There are a lot of great shows that are stuck on Go Nowhere networks, and there are a lot of bad shows that are on great networks that do well because they're on a great network. So hopefully Impact can find its feet. I really hope they do. They got a lot of great people working over there, including Matt Stryker. TakeOver 25 announced.
Let me get some of the details on that, because I meant to have that pulled up. Yeah, Triple H announced this because it is actually the 25th takeover.
Is it really? My God. Can't believe there have been so many.
I don't think the card has been announced
because I don't think it's the 25th anniversary.
Well, it's not. It's definitely not the anniversary. Where is the unofficial third brand? Saturday, June 1st, NXT TakeOver 25 will take place inside the Webster Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
And is that before a pay-per-view? I'm assuming, like a day before?
I don't think it is.
Because would this be the first NXT TakeOver they've done that wasn't leading into a big show?
No, because I think the first TakeOver... This is why we need Dalton here.
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Way too much of his time researching this stuff.
But we do have... I don't know if the matches have been made official on TV yet, so we won't go over the card. But the matches are like you can go out there and find what the card is,
right, for
25. But it's coming up. Yeah, wow, man, it is already almost June.
Because
I was like, man, June 1st. That seems like it's far away. And then I was like, wait, they have the matches listed? That's weird. Oh wait, June. That's just next month.
Please God, I want the next month to breeze by, and then I want time to stop because then we get our new place.
Yeah,
I just want to get out of the place we're at now.
Yes.
Speaking of people,
no, because there's definitely not going to be a pay-per-view after that because that'll be because Money in the Bank is just
2 weeks or so after Money in the Bank.
Yeah, Money in the Bank is the 19th.
Bank is the day after CCW.
So it's like
So yeah, that would be like a 2-week turnaround, 3-week turn, which wouldn't be unheard of.
No, they've done it before. I remember there used to be 2 pay-per-views a month there for a while.
Sometimes. Yeah, well, but now that they're not doing 2. Like, because it would be a Raw show and a SmackDown show.
No, there's no brand split anymore. And now they got the wildcard system, which is really cool.
Oh my God!
Al, have you heard about the wildcard system?
I have not.
We'll tell you. We'll feature Baby Bird. It's coming
thanks.
up. It's coming up. 2 stories that we debated on including, and we decided that it was worth talking about. Let's start off with Lio Rush. I know you put the other one first, but let's talk about Lio Rush first. Backstage reports are that Lio Rush has a considerable amount of heat on him over his behavior and antics. None of that, I believe, is proven. This is all just... But there was a wrestler who came out and said...
Mark Henry.
Was it Mark Henry?
Mark Henry did an interview where
he put him on blast?
Where he didn't necessarily put him on blast as much as like he went and spoke. Like he spoke to him one time and was like, "Hey, I'm hearing these stories. Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, no, everything's great." Blah blah blah. And then Mark Henry during that interview where he was recounting that story was like, "Yeah, so he just lied to my face." Because clearly, and it's all like mostly it's like etiquette stuff. It's
showing respect.
Yeah, he didn't he wasn't at Gorilla offering water to the veteran wrestlers, which is stuff like Aleister Black has done.
Yeah.
And pretty much it's a very common thing of when you are the new face on the show, you have certain expectations of you to show respect to the people who are already there.
Right.
And then you get rotated, and then you get rotated out of that when they bring someone else in.
It's like an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
It's just like when we're at CCW, you go backstage, you shake everyone's hand.
Right.
You shake everyone's hand, you introduce yourself. You, if Austin Lane says, "Hey, can you grab me something?" I go grab it for him.
Yeah.
It's that respect of you've done this, you've been here before me, I am new. I want to learn and all that stuff.
And like the independent wrestling scene is one thing, but like when you're at the level of WWE,
right.
and those are people you are seeing literally every day.
Yeah.
Like you spend more time with them than you do your actual family. So there's stuff like that, and apparently people have like there's a story of Finn Balor like try to pull him aside to be like, "Hey, you're doing this thing, and that's like that looks bad. You should probably," and he just kind of blew him off.
Yeah,
and it's just like, all right, you got people who have been here trying to help you.
It doesn't help that his on-screen character is so arrogant that it's easy to buy into the stories.
Well, yeah, that also definitely helps because apparently he's very like it's one of those just dialed up to 11, but he's usually at like a 9 or a 10 type thing. So. It's one of the, and there's reports that he's already been kicked out of the locker room. But they
clearly took him off Raw.
But yeah, and they have taken him off Raw. He is not expected to return to the main roster anytime soon as part of this. One of the other things that is apparently a big issue is he complained about his pay and talking about, I'm expected to rent a car and, hotel rooms because the wrestlers are responsible for their own travel.
Independent contractors.
But that's also part of why you have shows like Ride Along where, they pile people four into a vehicle, they're splitting hotel rooms to cut down on cost. So, which he also apparently brings his wife with him, and which is a other issue. It's for certain things because she's at things that she's not supposed to be. There's a story of her using the women's locker room to change, even though she's not a wrestler.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of. This is one of those things where it's not typically the type of story that we talk about, but between it being a very slow week and also just when there's smoke, there's fire.
Right.
There's a lot of smoke. And he kind of even issued, like, he's issued a statement or two about just like, but he's talking about like, no, it's just my personality is that big and I know what I'm worth and I'm not gonna, and it's like, you're not helping things.
It kind of strikes you as another Enzo.
A little bit.
In the way that he's handling things. I think it's a teachable moment.
Absolutely.
About respect.
Well, and especially when, remember when Emma got released.
Right.
And and he sent out that tweet, which he apologized for, and everyone was just
she wasn't ready for Asuka.
Yeah. And it was just like, man, that's it. And
that was when he just started.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. He was greener than Kermit.
Yeah. So it was just one of those like, it's not a good idea to do someone who was apparently as well liked as she was.
Yeah.
And now you come to this, and that makes, again, that just is another thing that lends credence to these, lends credibility to the rumors, or to the reports, I should say. They're not necessarily rumors.
I think he's lucky that he's in WWE where it is such a structured environment, because it could go much, much worse. You've heard of the mass transit incident, haven't you?
Oh,
from
yeah.
CCW. For those of you who might not know, and I won't go over the whole story, just the part that's important. But they had a show, and one of the wrestlers couldn't make it. So this guy comes in. He says, "I'm 23. I was trained by, I think, Killer Kowalski. I can work the show." So they didn't really vet him, which is really hard to vet somebody like that.
Yeah, in the 90s.
In the 90s especially. So they let him in, and apparently dude who's never been at a ECW show, he's never done anything, goes backstage, he's eating the food that the wrestlers eat, he's taking their bottles of water, he's telling them what he wants to do in the match, he's going about it the wrong way. It reminded me of Lio Rush, of I'm coming in, and even though you guys have been here before me and I'm new to this, I'm gonna act like I'm just like you. I'm gonna act like I belong here like you guys. And there's a way to go about it. You kind of earn your stripes. He got beaten to a bloody pulp and gouged in the head by New Jack. Lio Rush only got kicked out of the locker room. I'd say Lio Rush should probably thank his lucky stars.
Well, and like also, like, granted, he's not being used, but he hasn't been released.
Yeah.
If this kind of attitude was to happen on the independent scene, like,
He's gonna get booked.
it's real easy to just like get blacklisted.
Yeah.
And you're just okay if you come in and like if we haven't had this happen at CCW, but you absolutely know for certain if someone comes in and is shitty, Jason's not going to have them back.
Right. Yeah, everyone that's come through the CCW stores, and even the people that like I personally may not like, no one's ever been outright disrespectful, rude, or anything. Everyone has been incredibly kind,
right,
to each other, even
and professional.
Yeah. The weirdest one, the one person I ever thought was rude to me was Damone, and it just turns out that he's just a weird dude.
He's just weird.
He's incredibly nice, but he was just an odd fellow.
Right.
Yep.
We very much tiptoed around when we started in CCW.
Oh, baby. No, still
eggshell.
Still,
yeah, you ain't lying.
I still very much am still nervous of. Oh, did I introduce myself to that person? I want to, because I again still feel like, I'm not supposed to be back here.
Which is crazier because we're not the new people anymore.
Yeah,
there are newer people that are there working with CCW now that we're not veterans by any means.
No.
But in terms of CCW by itself,
right,
we kind of are.
Yeah,
there's a way to go about it, and Lio Rush does not seem like he's going about the right way. And again, teachable moment. He's an incredible talent. He can do things in that ring that is absolutely amazing. I hope he reins himself in.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. The other part of this story.
And another thing, too, is he's also very young.
He's in his early 20s, right?
Yeah. So, again, it's a very teachable moment, and it is a thing of, with age comes empathy and, just your worldview broadens.
Yeah.
So
100%, especially in somewhere like WWE where there are so many different things coming together.
And even look at we've talked about it before, so I won't harp on it a lot, but even us.
Yeah.
The stuff there was stuff that I've said, not on shows or anything, but if they got the transcripts of Xbox Live when I was in high school or college, I should be burned at the stake, and I would deserve it. And I'm very happy.
Same thing for me, except they could use transcripts from the show.
Because it's but it's one of those things where it's I'm very glad that I'm a different person now, and my sense of humor has completely changed, and I've learned a lot, and I feel like I've grown as a person.
Right.
And we all have.
But there are definitely people that are your age that even that did not grow.
Yeah.
I know people that are my age, I'm 36, who still act like they're 22 or 19 or 17, and they think gay jokes are funny. They think all these different things that are just horrendous.
Yeah, slurs and stuff. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
We're not saying it as a racist.
Right.
We're just using these really racist words.
But
it's nope, that's.
Which I'm guilty of. I'm guilty of that for the longest time, because in my head I truly thought by using this word in mockery of these people, I'm mocking these people, but not taking into consideration the pain that you were causing on people who don't know that, or it's just a bad way to do it. I don't know how to word this correctly other than just don't do it.
Right.
Allie.
What?
If Dalton were here right now, you would get the third degree, but he's not. Hey, speaking of racist.
Yep.
Yep. Like that segue. I still have not seen it, so I'm curious. But you told me before the show that apparently Lars Sullivan, the man who is destroying all your old favorites.
Well, it's R-Truth.
And the Hardys.
There was someone on Reddit, a different post of, this is, if you want visual representation of why WWE feels stale, here it is. And it was a supercut of Lars hitting that running sit-out powerbomb on it was 10 different times. 6 of them were R-Truth, but it was all the exact same camera angle, and it was the exact same reaction and the exact same sell. So that was just kind of a little interesting thing. But I need to pull up the
when Rusev used to squash people, and 80% of the time it was either R-Truth or Zack Ryder.
Or Big E or Xavier Woods.
Shit, yeah, I forgot about that.
Or Kofi. I don't know if I think it was Kofi, too.
I think Kofi was a little bit above the pay grade at the time. But definitely Big E and definitely Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
But definitely Zack Ryder.
But someone on Reddit, let me find the... This is why I hate having to use internet usernames. Reddit,
because you don't want to say BongBro24.
Because Reddit user Mic Drops and Cum Shots,
Jesus Christ,
posted something that was compiled by.
I'm sorry, I can't get over it.
Yeah, the actual compilation was done by user Farce Vacant.
That's better.
Way better. But so it's a very, very long list of screenshots and links, because the posts are still up, of Lars Sullivan, who this was from 2013, which again, you can hope that it's a different person, he's changed, blah blah blah, but there's some really horrendous things that have come to light that he posted on these various forums, including a bodybuilding forum.
So I'm actually, I found an article that says apparently Big E has responded to reports that WWE star Lars Sullivan made a series of racist comments on a bodybuilding forum by saying Sullivan should be prepared to be labeled as a bigot in the company that is full of minority workers if the reports are true.
That's not the exact quote. I can actually find that real quick because he tweeted. It wasn't he didn't make a prepared statement. He did a.
Which this is also saying that apparently this site claiming that they have reported on this as long ago as November 2018, and I find that shocking.
No, it has been. It's because this is not a new story. Some of this resurfaced when he first debuted in NXT. But nothing really came of it. It resurfaced again when he was wrestling Aleister Black for the NXT title. Nothing came of it, and then the rumors of him getting called up when he was supposed to feud with Cena.
Yeah, that's
where it really kind of got a little bit of steam, but then it fizzled out because he never debuted. Because if the stories are true, it's because he did the.
Okay, I found the Big E's post exactly. As many are aware, if true, he has to bear the albatross of being a bigot and working in a company that is now filled with minorities. Which, good on Big E, because they called out Hogan for the things that he said.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've ever called out Sheik. I need to message Big E and tell him what's going on with Sheik, but that's. I'm looking at a list of things that he supposedly said that apparently I don't want to go into them. They're heinous.
No, yeah, it's
they're bad,
and it's not just he's just saying some racist stuff. He's get in depth with and not just racist.
The one that I hate the most. He suggests that there's a gray area when it comes to rape and consent.
Yep.
Jesus.
Homophobic. Angle is too old to do anything. Daniel Bryan is boring. So it's targeted shots at people. That it'd be if you took clips of stuff that we didn't like from PWU and just here's the worst of the worst, except at least we always I'd like to think that when we criticize WWE or any performer, we mention oh no, yeah, sometimes there's a bad night, or it's it's just not my cup of tea. He gets personal with it. Look at anytime we talked about Roman Reigns. It's we don't like how he's being positioned in the company and we're bored with him, blah, blah, blah. But we never hold that against the actual performer.
Right.
Whereas this seems very much, it's targeted shots at people. But then, making jokes about Stone Cold beating up Deborah, joking about Canyon's suicide. He's talked about, he's made very sexual comments about Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah.
And so now that now that he has debuted on the main roster, and you never want to see it's the same thing with James Gunn. Whereas James Gunn made a lot of tasteless jokes.
But they were jokes.
You
could see the humor. You could see, and it's like the jokes we have made.
Right.
You can see where we were coming from of like, okay, they thought it was a good idea to do this joke.
Right.
Whereas Lars Sullivan, I'm reading the stuff that he said, and this just seems like personal beliefs he's putting out there.
Right, including talking about like, oh, I really like this band who is neo-Nazi.
Yeah.
And, has songs about...
Neo-Nazi.
Yeah, being a neo-Nazi.
I find it so hard to believe that this is real only because, and I truly believe it is real by looking it up. There's a ton of evidence.
Yeah.
But like the WWE, they had to be aware of this. They, as much as they brag about like what a family friendly, et cetera, and they don't tolerate bigotry and stuff like that. And they went after Hogan. They blacklisted Hogan for what, 2-3 years? Completely gone. He's just now coming back and he's still facing the stigma of it. He's still having to prove himself as he should, because that's something you have to make up for. But they had to have known that he had this kind of history. Someone had to go, hey, if some random internet user can find it, then a company like WWE can find it.
Well, and it's also that thing too. You have to look back. This is from 2013. This is 6 years ago. Maybe and we don't know. Like you don't have to give him the benefit of the doubt, but you have to think that there has been some sort of like personal growth. Some of his stuff is stuff you don't really grow out of, or like it takes a drastic life change for you to change these, some of those beliefs and some of those comments. And again, maybe he was just like, it's that thing of, oh, well, he didn't say, he was a troll. Like maybe he was just trolling. He doesn't actually believe these things. He just said some really horrible things.
Yeah.
And we don't know that there wasn't something, hey, this is what was found. Can you explain yourself?
Right.
We don't know that there haven't been conversations backstage about this. And I think you're right. I don't think that WWE is going to be blindsided by this.
Right.
It's just a thing of, okay, well,
especially after the Hogan thing.
Yeah. Like but this looks terrible for WWE to not at least have some sort of at least, or even have him make some sort of statement,
apologizing, saying this was a different time.
Yeah.
Like even Hogan did that. And I defended. I didn't defend Hogan. I didn't defend what he said. But I said this was 8 years ago. People can change. You can't take what someone said 8 years ago and hold it against them. And I'll say the same thing about Lars Sullivan.
Yeah.
If he said this in 2013 and it's 2019 now, you're right. Maybe there's room for growth. I want to hear from Lars Sullivan. I want to hear what he has to say about it.
Yeah.
The person that posted it on Reddit, or someone that posted it said update, Lars Sullivan responds, and it's just a picture from his Twitter that says you have been blocked.
Yeah.
So...
That's apparently another thing he's been doing, is anyone who brings it up, like and tagging him, he just blocks them.
This is something you have to get out in front of. You cannot let this build, because the more it builds, the worse it's going to get.
The more you avoid it.
Yeah. Allie, what do you do to where do you start with this?
I don't know. The best thing to do is to not avoid it, I think, because when you avoid it, people can just assume whatever they want.
Right. They can create.
They can create things that might be far worse than what it actually is.
Right.
So you can't avoid it. You need to make a statement about it. It's something. No matter where he is now, if this is still who he is, then he shouldn't be working for WWE, probably, because they do have they want it to be more positive, even though they're not always positive. If he's changed, then he needs to be upfront with that. He needs to be upfront with the fact that he made these comments and he did these things because he did. You can't avoid
the internet.
Well, you can't avoid what you've done.
I think this is a great lesson on everything you say, everything you've done online can be found. It can come back to haunt you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's an important, because how many wrestlers have we seen? What was I think it was the Seth Rollins. The only way I can think of it is to say Seth Rollins' mistress, and I don't mean any disrespect by it, but just the girl that he got caught texting or whatever. Didn't she have a picture on her Instagram from years back where she was in like a Nazi outfit and she was saluting?
Yes.
And she was fired for it?
I don't know if she was fired from WWE for that, but yes. And I also think she is now Sonya Deville's current girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
At least they were dating at some point fairly recently.
It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that people post or do dumb shit that they don't believe.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Again, like I said, it's the troll argument. It's what 4chan tries to label itself as.
We're not bad. We're just trolling people.
Yeah, we're just trolling
Yeah.
people. We're making these jokes because, we're not actually racist,
Right.
but, we're going to use that word all the time.
Yeah. But there comes to a point where if you do that much, then you really need to look at yourself and go, but am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an adventure. And again, reading what Lars Sullivan wrote,
There's some really heinous stuff
there's
in
some
there.
extremely heinous stuff in here. What do you think WWE does from here, though?
Nothing.
Really?
Like, what do I think they should do, or what do I think they will do? Because what I think they should do is have him make a statement, or like they have to publicly address it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I think they will do is nothing, and they'll just wait for the outrage to die out, and then he will just be a nameless statistic of another monster heel that had a run in WWE for a while.
Yeah, because oh my god, I can't help but read more and more quotes from this, and like this is, if you were offended by the Hulk Hogan stuff, then this is gonna blow your mind.
Yeah.
We can't talk about it all night though. I wait to see what happens. I hope something good comes out of this. I hope this isn't swept under the rug like they try to do with so much stuff. Because the one thing about WWE, at least, is that if you bring them something and you make light of it, you bring it too light, then they will take action for the most part. I mean, they blacklisted Hogan. They almost called off Saudi Arabia, but the money was too much. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they see enough money in Lars Sullivan to take a hit for him.
Yeah, but I also don't think the outrage hey, this guy said some screwed up stuff on the internet years ago is going to get the amount of national attention that, hey, we're running a show in a country that just murdered a journalist and lied about it.
It also doesn't have the same weight to it as Lars Sullivan says racist things on the internet does not have the same ring as legendary wrestler Hulk Hogan in audio saying the N-word.
Right.
Yeah.
But I hope to God they don't sweep this under the rug because that sickens me.
Like I said, I genuinely kind of think that they're going to.
I just hope it goes away.
But like I said, I would like to think that they are going to address it or have him make like some sort of public statement or.
We'll see where it goes. See where it goes. Dave Meltzer, who Allie found out what he looks like recently.
I did.
What'd you say, Asa?
Kmart Lou Ferrigno.
I love it. He speculates that Lucha Underground won't be returning.
Someone asked him on Twitter about when a potential return date for Lucha Underground season 4 or 5 would be, and he said it's not coming back, which would make a lot of this nonsense. I don't know enough about it to make a judgment call. I think Meltzer is one of the most knowledgeable people in the wrestling business. And you really can't argue otherwise.
People tell him shit.
There are people, and there are people who really dislike Meltzer, but there's also a lot of the misinformation that gets spread around is attributed to him.
Right.
Even though they are taking words and like they're taking stuff out of context to blow up into a headline, and then the dirt sheets float that around, even though it's a very small part of a much bigger discussion.
Right.
But that said, I don't know. It would bum me out if Lucha Underground didn't come back because there was they did a lot of really cool stuff. I'm still behind.
It was different.
I haven't seen everything.
Extremely different.
But if Lucha Underground doesn't come back, it makes this whole contract situation really shitty.
That they held on to for so long for no reason?
Yeah. You look at people like Ricochet that couldn't get out of it forever. It took a lawsuit for people like
Thunder Rosa,
and I think Joey Ryan was part of it too.
Yeah.
To be able to get him out of it as well. So like I said, and the way I saw a little bit of a spoiler for the end of the most current season, and it ended in a way that I thought was kind of neat. I didn't have a lot of context to go with it, just like, oh, here's a visual of some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hope it's not the end of it. That said, if it is the end of it, it did something really unique, but it is just kind of someone on Reddit, I think, pointed out like, oh, it's just another long line of pre-taped season-based wrestling failing between and they had a bunch of other examples of other than Wrestling Society X, and
I watched that too.
I did too.
I watched the shit out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to see the last episode though, which apparently had the exploding piranha death match or whatever,
something ridiculous like that. Yeah.
Oh my god, I remember there was a guy on there named the Human Tornado, which someone told me still wrestles in it.
He retired fairly recently,
within
the last year or two, I think.
Dude was 94 pounds, but
insane.
Could do things that I didn't think a human body could do.
Yeah.
Speaking of human bodies,
he's the
oh, thank God, because I didn't have a segue. Oh, thank
I think he's the one you have. There's the GIF of the guy dunking a basketball, and then as he comes down, he hits a Hurricane Rana. I'm pretty sure it was Human Tornado, and I think he hit that on Pac.
Speaking of like insane gifts, I will mention this. 2 of them through the group chat today. I don't know if you saw. One was from 205 Live, where apparently Mike Kanellis
and Tozawa,
he got him up on the top rope, and he like picks him up, and they're on the top rope, mind you. And Tozawa hits a Hurricane Rana out of the ring, and they both go through tables on the outside. And I don't know if Tozawa was supposed to, but he did, and that was sick. And then the other one was the Apollo Crews one. Did you see the Apollo Crews one?
No.
He's got a guy in like a powerbomb position type thing, and he grabs his arms from behind, and he flips him up into the air into a jumping tombstone pile driver. No. Bad.
Science has gone too far.
Bad Apollo Crews. Back when he was the Uha Nation.
It wasn't Pac, it was Matt Sydal. So Evan Bourne.
Gross. I don't use that term often.
He bounces it off of his head, catches it again, dunks, and then comes down and hits the Hurricane Rana.
Anyway, WWE has experienced some low ratings recently. In fact, I think last week or the week before was the lowest rated probably ever, because that seems to happen a lot. But the low ratings are causing worries with NBC and Fox. Of course, you got that big Fox deal coming up, and are they starting to get a little nervous about the product that they purchased?
Yeah, they just shelled out all the $1 billion, and now the ratings are just tanking. Which is starting to, which is part of the reason. Like, there's the
McMahon is on TV all the time.
McMahon's back, and then the rumors of Andrade being moved back to SmackDown during the shakeup because Fox wanted more Latino representation for their market.
Didn't they move 2 people back?
Well, they moved 3. So they moved Andrade and Zelina Vega, but then they also moved Aleister Black to SmackDown because they don't like to break up married couples.
Right.
To keep them, they like to keep married couples on the same show.
That's good. I mean, that's cool. I like that. That's because that sucks when it's not. Yeah. Because you're on the road so much.
But then there's also there was then the report of like, no, that's not why it happened. It actually happened because Charlotte is still on SmackDown, so they wanted to keep Andrade together because since they're dating now. But
I don't know if that has the same weight of we just started dating versus we're married. You know?
Oh no, and that's the thing is like you'll see like if couples are like dating, there's always the story like Alexa Bliss and Buddy Murphy. They've recently called off their engagement, and it's because they haven't been on the same show for years at this point.
Yeah,
because he was still down at NXT
for
a while she was up on Raw. Yeah.
So what I hate most about this is I told a story once months ago about some little prick on like 401 Mania who they posted an article about Murphy and Alexa Bliss, and he was like, she's just gonna dump him, she's way better than him. And I bet that little asshole right now is going like, told you. I hate people. This could be bad for WWE. Ratings going down is nothing new, but when you got such a big deal coming up, but the deal's done, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
They got their money. They can literally put on a shit show if they wanted to.
But it is a matter of, like, if I don't know what kind of expectation clauses there might be or performance clauses.
That they have to keep a certain amount of viewership or something like that.
Right. Or if, Fox decides midway through, all right, well, we're not doing SmackDown anymore. Now you got to go and find a new network instead of what could potentially be a long-term relationship that they would like to keep.
A lot of people have said for the longest time, why don't they move like Raw and SmackDown to the network?
And it's those TV deals.
Yeah, the TV deals are sweet.
And that's one of those things, too, is it's like you could end up with if the ratings tank that bad, if they ended up, which I don't, because TV, even though ratings are consistently going down because there's more options than ever to watch, but there's also so much, like, it's not quite to the level of terrestrial radio where it's just like any day now. Like it's the plug's getting pulled.
How is this still a thing?
Or like physical newspapers.
Sorry, Curb.
It's not that bad, but at the same time, it is a thing of like there's so much more competition with streaming services that it seems easy to like discredit the amount of influence that TV carries. But those TV deals are incredibly lucrative.
Right.
Like I said, WWE, most money they've ever made because they got $1 billion with a B from Fox. So
I said TV deals are...
So I don't think they would. I don't know how they could earn that much income if they moved everything just strictly to streaming. It would be great. Like if I could just watch Raw on demand.
Right.
Like if I could go in, even like I know it's on Hulu, but it's the truncated version.
Yeah.
If I could go and just like fast forward through the 3 hours of Raw, or hopefully shorter, since they're not going to have the ad time.
I mean, you just have to have a DVR. Which is what I do.
You mean I don't have to watch the well, yeah, but I don't have any kind of cable or DVR.
Right.
Like, or or internet company cable.
Right. That's what I mean. You have to have a separate service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you tell me I can watch only Firefly Funhouse and I don't have to watch the other 2 hours and 8 minutes. Well, that's 2 hours and 58 minutes of content.
I hear that's a friendship that'll never end.
All you have to do is let me in. I haven't seen this week's yet. And I've heard it's nuts.
It's weird.
Yeah,
like they're getting progressively. I almost feel like they've rushed it. Like they should have kept it more subtle for a little bit longer. Because like this one, we'll talk about it in the Raw.
But at the same time, yeah. Moving on. But yeah, ratings are looking bad. But again, last year they were the lowest they've ever been. And they, never. I don't think they truly came back to like you're never going to get the Attitude Era numbers again. That's just impossible. Mm-hmm. And I think they're aware of that. But
and I think people are really banking on All Elite Wrestling being the new Monday Night Wars, even though they're not going to be in direct competition. Mm-hmm. I think everyone's expecting a new wrestling boom because of it, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
numbers are not going to, like you said, there will never be another Attitude Era. Lightning can't strike twice.
Yeah,
but anyway, and this is a funny story in. I hope this becomes a thing. You can't write this stuff. After the Revivals segment on Raw last week, where they were shaving each other,
and embarrassed about it because the Usos have gone from Uso Penitentiary, some of the most badass characters on SmackDown, to Welcome to Jackass.
Yeah, they're basically the Good Brothers.
Yeah,
that part where the Good Brothers were like filming all the stupid segments against the New Day and stuff. They were. They were shaving each other, and now they got a deal offered to WWE from Manscaped.
Which, don't know how legit it is, and it's one of those things where if you, like CM Punk talks about it, like, those branding deals have to go through WWE. They can't just be like, oh, yeah.
We'll take that deal,
yeah. We'll start talking. Everything has to go through WWE. But, yeah, it's just kind of funny that Manscaped, the company, which specializes in men's grooming, tweeted out and like, hey, we'd love for you to represent us.
Turn a negative into a positive.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the Revival, and let's jump to Raw, because that's where we're at now.
Boy, Raw can you believe that they don't want to stay?
I don't know. I saw one of them post. It's not, I think it was Dawson. I'm not doing the bit. Which one's Dawson and which one's Wilder? Wilder's the bald one, right?
No, it's...
Shit, then I really legitimately got him wrong.
Scott Dawson is the bald one.
Okay, then I think it was Dash Wilder. He had posted about how, like, and I'm pretty sure, and I may be remembering things wrong, but how this is entertainment, it's comedy, kind of defending the thing that they're doing. But it's embarrassing. And this week on Raw was probably even more embarrassing than the manscaping, because this is one of my least favorite tropes in entertainment. The Usos come out, and the moment that the Revival is told that they have whatever it was in their, what was it, itching powder?
It was Usi Hot.
The moment they have Usi Hot in their trunks and on their genitals, they start freaking out because now it's so bad. And it's like you have to be told it's going on before you really realize it.
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was just kicking in. It hadn't kicked in yet.
The
Usos timed it perfectly.
Oh, okay.
That they were going to come in and be like, and now you're feeling it.
So now you got Dawson and Dash out there scratching at themselves, grabbing themselves because it's too bad. They pour water on it, which makes it worse.
That's the worst thing you could have done.
So now, literally, there's a part where Scott Dawson was rolling around on the ground, cartoon style, trying to get it to stop, and it was just like, it's one thing to embarrass the heel. Get that? That's wrestling. I got that at Super Show. I got my ass kicked. I got my shoes taken.
Got them back.
It's one thing to embarrass the heel, but to like do it in a way that you really can't come back from it. They're just getting shit on in a way that like no one will take them seriously. There is no upside to them for this. Even if they beat the Usos, which they won't, there's no coming back from Usi Hot and manscaping, and like it's so embarrassing, and I can't help but feel it's just a middle finger to them.
Oh, it absolutely is.
And that is the most petty shit.
Again, why can you believe they don't want to stay? Can you believe they turned down that $500,000 a year 5-year deal that was offered to them? Apparently,
it's embarrassing, and it's not entertaining.
And again, and not only
there are some people who enjoy it, so what the fuck do I know?
And not only is it not good for the Revival, again, like this is the least I've liked the Usos in years.
Yeah,
because it's just like they're doing their best.
It's
and
almost like they're bullies,
and they're entertaining.
How are they the good guys?
Because it's funny. It's hilarious pranks, but it's like I don't want to see the Usos do pranks. I want to see the Uso Penitentiary. I want to see them be like the serious tough competitors. Like remember I saw someone was talking about it. It might have been one of the write-ups that I was reading, but like they were talking about like go back to even in that tag team gauntlet match. The way the Usos come out are almost like they're wolves stalking their prey. Their first appearance on Raw, they're jumping around rapping to their own music, and it's like, how do you get this wrong?
I like the thought of I'm Jimmy, I'm Jay. Welcome to Jackass. This is the revival. Fuck the revival.
Yeah.
So that was
they're trying.
That was super bad, and I swear to God, if the revival do resign, it better be a damn good contract. That manscaping deal better come through.
What if this is what they wanted?
This was the entertainment they wanted to do.
They're like, no, yeah, I mean, we're one of the greatest tag teams on the planet today, but what we want to do is really hit our comedy chops. So it's like Vince is back there just like, this is terrible. I know this is terrible, and everyone's just blaming WWE.
But they want it.
But they think it's killing it.
They offered them the goal, like, we'll make you tag champs, make you legitimate contenders. No, hear us out. Did you ever watch like old 20s comedies where it's all physical? That's what we want to do. Next they'll be doing, I wonder at what point they start to do the Billy and Chuck thing where they're stretching together, but it's a little too close, and they help each other with the
flips, just slapstick.
Yeah. What?
No flips, just slapstick.
I literally thought you said no flips, just slap dicks.
I mean,
which tied into what I said. Also on Raw, we did have the new Firefly Funhouse. Say that 10 times fast. Allie, go.
I cannot.
Okay. Hey, so you didn't see this one?
No, because I showed Audra the first one last night. Because it was like, so these were the vignettes that we got. And then just randomly this appeared. And she was just like, what the fuck? Like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
This one.
And then I was like, oh, I need to watch the third one. But and then every time I thought about it, like, I was like, oh, I need to watch the third one before we do this. But I still need to get the notes together. And then I forgot. Or like today, I was like, oh, I still need to watch Firefly Funhouse. But then I started playing Mortal Kombat.
This one was, they cussed in it, which was weird. Like, again, I think they've gone too quick. Mercy ate the rabbit.
I did know that because someone I had seen pointed out, like, buzzards don't eat living prey. Abby killed the rabbit. I don't know if that was addressed on the show or not.
It was not.
Okay.
It was not.
He was like, she's a sociopath.
He was like eating, and then Bray was like, what are you eating over there? And then Abby woke up and was like super pissed off about it. And I think Mercy said something like shut the hell up or some kind of curse word. And then, ate the rabbit. And then there was a bunch of kids sitting there, all blank stares, staring at the camera.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it tonight.
I don't know. I feel like it was too soon.
It's still one of my favorite things going on Raw. But at the same time,
what's the shelf life?
Yeah, can you just stretch it out indefinitely? Like it needs to progress to a point because, like I said, we still haven't seen how anyone else on the roster is reacting to this,
right.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him. We don't know how this is going to carry over in because it's weird. I love it, but I'm still just waiting for that other shoe to drop of like, okay, but how is it going to get screwed up? Because this is one that it could be the best thing WWE has ever done, or it could just be like, oh, this is awful.
I wonder how they're going to translate it into him just getting back in the ring. Like,
see, and
why would he wrestle?
That's what I'm talking about. Is like this is very much. This doesn't seem like a wrestling character.
I can only feel like maybe Abby convinces him to or something. You know, they're like, well, you belong in there, not here.
The thought that I have is he's going to start doing it for the children.
Wrestling
like the
for
kids,
children?
the kids want to see him wrestle. The kids want to see him go back to compete, but not like the bad guy. He's going to be the good guy, but still like, and he can still be super weird in the ring.
Yeah. He can still be Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
But they'll probably bring kids out to watch him
and
something.
sing.
Yeah. No.
With a super deep voice and scare Cena.
That was when I finally gave up on Bray Wyatt. Until this was when the hologram kid and stuff like that. Like it got bad.
Someone talking about like he was on Twitter and said something about like, oh, that bad man Randy Bobandy.
Yeah.
And Orton responded to just like, you're the one that made WWE spend $2 million to project bugs onto the ring. Just like Twitter, Randy Orton's one of my favorite. Randy Orton because he just doesn't care.
But how much did his entrance snake cost?
That was the same WrestleMania.
That would be my response.
His response was, I think his response was literally just yowie wowie. He did. Someone also was like, "Oh, you should try to get Harper to guest star on Firefly Funhouse." He's like, "I'm trying."
We got to find him first. Dude disappeared. I think he's a librarian.
Maybe. Did you see? Just speaking of that, because apparently WWE's like hard passed on granting him his release.
Yeah.
Apparently, they offered Rhino double his salary to just stay at home, but he just wanted to wrestle, so he turned that down. It's like, why? Why are you spending this money just to keep people away from wrestling?
They're so paranoid. They have to be so paranoid about AEW, which good on AEW for putting some fear into them. I still don't know how on board I am with AEW or how they're going to function as a legitimate wrestling company.
Like I said, once Double or Nothing will be a big tell, because that's this month, and I genuinely think we are.
That is this month, isn't it? Because it's the week after CCW. Isn't
it's the 25th. Yeah. I genuinely think that's where they're going to make their TV deal announcement. I feel like it has to be.
I hope they get a better network than Impact.
I mean, the rumors are Turner, so TNT, TBS, one of those.
Man, that would be really cool. And hopefully they'll bring Eric Bischoff back.
Why?
What? He's back.
Better than ever.
I kind of want to hold off on the wild card thing, but actually no. Let's talk about it because I don't know anything from SmackDown. I didn't watch any of it. I know nothing.
Owens.
I know on Raw, Sami Zayn got thrown into a dumpster. Braun Strowman may have killed him. Maybe.
No, he came back on Tuesday.
Okay, good.
And Styles and Kofi made fun of how he smelled because he was in the dumpster.
He didn't have access to a shower either.
They had a triple threat match for the WWE title. Kevin Owens attacked Xavier Woods at ringside, distracted Kofi, but Kofi still won.
Which is great. At least they're having Kofi win matches. He beat Kevin Owens on Raw.
Yeah. No, he beat Daniel Bryan on Raw.
Yeah, I was about to say that as right.
That was the other thing is because the tag team titles were vacant because the Hardys had to relinquish. Daniel Bryan and Rowan won the tag titles against they beat the Usos.
Yeah.
So they're the SmackDown tag champs now. Nothing else seems super.
I heard it was not a good week for wrestling.
There was more. They did more stuff with Mandy Fire and Desire, and they beat someone, and then Paige came out and told them that it doesn't matter because Asuka and Sane are the new tag team for some reason. I don't know. Well, it wasn't a very news heavy show. Shane McMahon got attacked by The Miz.
Continuing that because they're going to wrestle at Money in the Bank, I think.
Cage match.
Yeah. Oh, good.
It needs to be some sort of gimmick, something tall for someone to fall off of.
Shane.
Yeah.
Again.
I mean, Miz did his part at WrestleMania.
He did. And then there's the wild cards.
Yeah, and then the wild card, which started on Raw, because other than, I'm trying to think of stuff that happened on Raw, and there really wasn't. The AJ Styles, Seth Rollins feud continued.
The Lucha House Party beat a team.
Yeah, three independent wrestlers.
Baron Corbin beat somebody in a tag match.
Lacey Evans beat a...
Jenny Boots and Tights.
Yeah.
And then got beat up by...
Becky.
Yeah, which that's crazy that they're having Becky defend against both Lacey and Charlotte in the same night. Like, you feel like one of them has to win just because they're both being portrayed so seriously.
I genuinely think Becky beats both.
I do too.
But then whoever wins the women's Money in the Bank cashes in after and wins at least one of the titles.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think it's sustainable to have her be Becky Two Belts forever.
Yeah.
Like, maybe Money in the Bank and then whatever the next pay-per-view is where she loses at least one of them.
Right.
But
who won the Royal Rumble for the women's side? Wasn't it Carmella?
No, she won the women's Battle Royal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania. I don't know why I said Royal
Carmella.
Rumble. And does that mean she got a title shot?
She got a trophy.
Yeah.
Good enough. Oh, the reproductive parts of a woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, cool. And then there's the wild card thing. So the wild card thing, Allie, so you know, because this is one of the dumbest things I've heard in a while. Vince McMahon has now put a rule in where 3 superstars from Raw or SmackDown can come to the other show, but anyone else that does will be suspended or fired or something like that. And then he changed it to 4 because Lars Sullivan walked in and looked at him. That's it.
He intimidated him.
Lars Sullivan walked in, probably showed him some old posts he made and said, "You could be next." And Vince McMahon said, "You know what? We'll make it 4."
Who was he talking to?
No one,
because he was on the phone.
Yeah, he was just talking to him.
Who does he have to report to? It's so
his real boss, the fans.
Nah, well, we got fired. Because Raw opened with Reigns, Kofi, and it opened with Vince, but then it was Reigns, Kofi, and Daniel Bryan. Which one, real quick, great to see Daniel Bryan back. There were concussion scares and injury reports coming out of Mania, and with what happened to him and what led to his early retirement. Or his stint as being retired.
His retirement.
It was good to see. It was good to see him compete and be back. So I'm super happy about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because Roman says he had unfinished business which apparently was wrestling the guy he already beat at WrestleMania.
So here's the weird part about that. Roman Reigns sends out a tweet last week, or maybe it was beginning of this week. I heard it was last week, where he basically said, "I'm coming to Raw. I have unfinished business, whatever." And then WWE put out a tweet after it saying, "We understand his position, but he will not be appearing on Raw."
Mm-hmm. He's a SmackDown wrestler.
And then he appears on Raw, and they're like, "Well, now we have this new rule so people can come over." And it's like, what was the point of any of that?
And not only that, so it's okay. So as all three of them are in the ring, that's when Vince announces the wild card thing, which makes it sound like it has to be pre-approved.
Right.
Like it's not just first come, first serve. So it starts with that, and then Lars Sullivan comes out, so he's already number 4, and then at a certain point, Shane and Elias come out to attack Miz, even though Miz is on Raw, but Elias is a SmackDown guy.
Yeah.
Shane, I guess you can get around it because he's a McMahon, and McMahons can float between both.
And you can make the argument that Elias was there because of Shane, and Shane got a word in.
But it's that, and this is why I hated the brand split. This is why I give it so much shit, is because it never counts. They never just fully go with it. I know that was something I saw, I think Hunter and Cody were talking about it in the group chat, but that's why I don't like the brand split, and that's why I hate the whole bragging rights thing, the Survivor Series build of our show's better than your show, except now we're just going to start showing up on your show, and people float before anyway, and we literally had the Superstar shakeup that happened over the course of 3 weeks, and now that doesn't really even matter because now
we
people
moved a
can
bunch
just
of people
go,
back.
Yeah, and now people can just it's
so dumb.
It's frustrating.
It's like they're saying, we don't think we need these people on this show for ratings, but we can't put them on the show because we need them on that show, and we already made the brand split. We'll find a way to bring them over here, and it's a wild card thing. And it's dumb. I can't stand it. I'm physically angry about this.
And this was
just cut out the brand split.
And this was also apparently this was a response to the low ratings and the pressure from Fox and NBC of hey, so are people going to actually watch this? And they're like, oh, well, yeah, now it's the unpredictability of who's going to show up when.
And here's my guess, and this is a wild guess. This
will
have dick influence on the ratings. The ratings will continue to be what they are. This is not going to change anything because 1, you have to advertise in advance, and 2, you've diluted.
No, man, Monday Night Raw's tonight. I wonder who's going to show up.
I guess
tune in for the mystery.
I guess. And then when Baron Corbin shows up on SmackDown, you're like, oh, this is it. This is what I paid no money for. I don't know. It's desperation.
Yeah.
WWE is reeking of desperation right now. They're the old man. They're the 60-year-old guy in the club trying everything he can just to talk to a girl. And then AEW is like the 23-year-old hot boy that comes in slanging Fortnite stickers, and everybody wants to get with him because he's so cool. And it's just, they reek of that. And meanwhile, WWE is still handing out, they're handing out PUBG stickers, and nobody wants them.
No, they're handing out Pogs.
Jesus, let's give them a little bit of credit.
Remember
Pogs are coming back.
They're coming in back. Pog form.
In Pog form. Alf, you remember Alf?
Yes.
He's back in Pog form.
It's a mess. We'll see how long they even stick with this.
I think they now have the dartboard of different ideas, and Vince is just throwing darts at it like, what can we do this week? Mm-hmm. They're just bringing more and more gimmicks into this because they're so desperate to keep people's attention because they know AEW is around the corner.
And it's almost like
it's the apocalypse.
I don't know. It seems how long have we said it's the most talented roster, most entertaining roster that they potentially have ever even had?
With dick to do with it.
Yeah, but they just don't know. And a lot of it's because whenever the previous generation of guys were on their way out or coming back, they still felt the need to keep them at top.
Yeah.
Cena has lost a lot lately, but it doesn't really mean anything anymore.
Right. Nothing means anything anymore.
Yeah.
Including this show.
There was a headline, there was a tweet or a headline or something of just WWE is the only television program that punishes its viewers for wanting to commit long term.
Yeah.
Because just stuff doesn't matter.
And I get wrestling is hard. Booking wrestling is hard.
Oh yeah, they're writing 5 hours of television a week.
Yeah.
That's
on top
insane.
of all the other stuff they do, live shows. There's so much that goes into the WWE machine. I couldn't possibly do it.
Did you see the story about, I think I put it in the group chat, I didn't put it on the news, but there's a member of the creative staff in WWE won a daytime Emmy.
And she brought it to the meeting?
And she brought it in, she brought it with her to work because she was so proud of it, and everyone got super pissed at her because...
Apparently she was at the meeting with it in front of her.
Yeah. Because you better bet your ass I would be. And like not even as an FU to like anybody else, because like how desperate WWE is for that mainstream acceptance, and for them to win an Emmy would be huge. But like, so not only that, but like if I won an award, and like you bet your ass I would have that sitting on the table when we record. Like I would have it on my desk at work. I would bring it with me everywhere.
I think that's disrespectful. Personally, I would put it on a necklace and just wear it around like Mr. T style. Yeah, good on her. By the way, hey, if you want an Emmy of your own, write better TV.
Yeah,
that'd be my argument. We gotta get out of here.
Maybe don't make jokes about someone shaving one another,
and don't hire people who have a huge history of racism and bigotry. Lots of lessons to learn today. All right, we got to get out of here because the battery's about to die, and I am extremely hungry, and we got to figure out what the hell we're doing for food. I want to thank you guys for listening to Pro Wrestling Unscripted here on the Podzilla 1985 Network. Share with your friends. Don't forget about that. Ace is going to hit you with the plugs here in a second, so I don't even need to talk about it. I'm going to go talk about keto diet and get me some pizza and put the crust together. Asa, hit us with those links.
Facebook.com/Podzilla1985, Twitter.com/Podzilla1985, Patreon.com/Podzilla1985 is a huge one. Patreon.com as well. Go back, listen to any of the old episodes. Like I said, we did another episode of Hype Train last night. We talked a lot about Borderlands as well as
at any point during Hype Train, when one of you guys makes a good point, does anyone just go woo woo?
I thought about it. We're going to get the soundboard invested. Also, just real quick, I want to thank anyone who submitted me as the choice for the Kind of Funny co-host thing. They announced their winners today. I was not one of them, which very much unsurprising. Yeah. But the people that they chose are super. I'm blanking on their names right now. But super talented people, and I'm really excited to see them work with Kind of Funny. But for anyone who took the time out of their day to pump me up for that, I just wanted to say thank you, and maybe next time, because they've said that they love the idea so much. They love the idea so much, and seeing how this goes, right? It's something that they would like to do again. So.
In that same vein,
hopefully we will continue to keep growing. And
I do want to point out that Xbox currently has a sweepstakes contest type thing. If you go to their Twitter and retweet a post they made about Godzilla, you are entered in a chance to win one of 4 custom Xbox One X's for the new Godzilla movie. If you would go and do that and then give it to me if you win, I'd be eternally grateful. Thank you for that. You'll become a Patreon subscriber for life. I will pay your $1 every month for as long as Podzilla exists. All right. Thank you, guys. Let's get out of here. You guys are great, as always. We're back tomorrow with After Dark, and it should be a lot of fun or a complete train wreck. 50-50 on that show every time.
Hype Train wreck?
The Hype Train wreck. Good night, everybody.